Hello again, everyone. The next video here in the series on the personal project is about moderation of the personal project. Although the personal project is very much a student-driven affair, the school does have some key responsibilities, and one of those is to supervise the project and to grade the project and then to moderate the project before it then goes to the IB for external moderation. Skipping the moderation really would not be a great idea. It would mean that the difference between your teacher assessed totals and the IB assessed grade is potentially quite large. And what happens when the IB reviews your samples and finds like a large discrepancy is there's the potential for them to downgrade your entire cohort based on the samples. And you don't really want that. We need to be submitting pieces of work that are marked as accurately as possible. Moderation allows for that. What I'm going to share here is the way that I manage and track the grading and moderation process. This is for quite a large cohort, 30 to 40 supervisors, more than 80 students. Might not be necessary for smaller schools with smaller cohorts to track in this way. But if you do want to use this tracking sheet for yourself or modify it or whatever you wish to do, there's a link down in the description where you can grab a copy for yourself and use it as you wish. Let's just go through it to explain how it all works. So the first sheet here is just simply the criteria. So an easy way for the teachers to reference the criteria as they are grading the reports or moderating the reports. Then on the next sheet, again, this one might not be necessary for everyone, but we have the moderation groups. I communicate this information pretty early in the process to the supervisors. I group them in these groups for moderation when we're doing all of the other workshops related to the personal project. So it builds them together as a team a little bit. They get to know each other and they're on the same page when it comes to the moderation. So I simply include the teachers who are supervisors here, and under each one specify the students in which they will moderate. Of course, it's not their students, but rather the students of another person within that moderation group. What I tend to do is shift it one to the right there, so that teacher's students here from this column are moderated by the second teacher there. Within those groups as well, I make sure that there's at least one person who is confident and experienced with the personal project in that group. I gauge that through a survey of the supervisors at the beginning of the process, so I know who it is that I need to support more. And I also know who it is that I can rely on from within the supervisor group to help support those who aren't so experienced. On this last sheet is where we get the real heavy lifting done. So you'll see at the top, the green cells in this sheet, if you decide to use it, shouldn't be edited, right? That's where the formulas are working. And if you edit them, you're going to mess that up. Pretty simple. We start on the left here with a student. Let's have John Smith and Mary Jones. Just two generic names. What would happen is the supervisor inputs their grades. Let's say John here got a 3, a 4, and a 3. Not so great from John. Maybe he could have improved on that a little bit. And Mary got a 5, a 6, and a 5. Not doing too bad there. You can see there in the green cells for the supervisor totals, it actually totals up their total score there across the 3 criteria. This is when the moderator takes over. They will also look at the report and make their judgment. Now, how this looks in practice is I prefer for it to be done in person. So we have scheduled some 1-hour workshops during our professional development time for the groups to sit together at a table and do the moderation. I find this to be much more valuable because when there is a discrepancy that comes up, they can immediately address it with the person. And for example, the moderator says, John did a bit better than you thought he did. I think he got 4s. So where we have that difference, and you can see the difference is calculated here, we can start to address that difference, right? So the moderator can say, like, you gave John a 3 for criteria A there. I think it's a 4 for these reasons. Can you explain to me why you thought it was a 3? And what we're trying to get is like a final agreed grade. Now, in this case, it might be that they agree that A is actually a 4, B is a 4, we agree, but we've decided that C is actually a 3, right? The same for Mary. Maybe Mary got upgraded to 6s, and they agreed on that, right? What you can see is, as we go across, the columns total up, and we get the final totals here with a grade projection, an IB 1 to 7 grade. That's based here on the grade boundaries from the May 2022 subject report. Of course, that is potentially can change depending on what happens for this year, but these are the boundaries that we have to work with, at least. If this is done, if all of the supervisors put in their grades, all the moderators put in their grades, and the final grades are agreed on, the coordinator really has everything they need now in one place to enter it into IBIS, right? So when you upload the reports to IBIS, you're asked for the teacher assessed totals, and you would use for that these final agreed criteria grades and total overall grades. This really, by having the supervisors do this and input this data into this spreadsheet for you, it's going to save you a load of time, especially if, like myself, you're dealing with a large number of supervisors and a large number of teachers and students. It really is going to save you a load of time on the back end there. This is far from perfect. It's an iteration. If you have a different way of doing it, or if you can see a way that this spreadsheet could be easily improved, I'd love to hear it. So drop a comment below. I'll definitely respond and we can start the conversation. If you want more content about the MYP, the diploma program, the personal project, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and you'll definitely get more great content straight to your inbox. Have a great day, everyone.